Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day today. And today in this video, I just wanted to address credit cards, my experience with them, as well as tips for you if you have credit card debt or don't have a credit card yet and want to learn how to navigate having a credit card and avoid debt and interest and all of that. Then keep watching and I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and let me know about your experience with finances. I know that in America, the US thrives on debt and financial illiteracy. We know it's all true, so um, I really want to be that through my experience as a 22-year-old and where I stand with credit, finances, debt, and yeah, so let's get started. So my credit card story started when I want to say 18. I had been working since I was 16 at my hometown, and I finally got over the overdraft fees and those charges of, like not spending too much before it comes in. No one taught me about finances. My mom helped me open a checking account when I was like 16, I think 17 maybe. But like no one really gave me any information about, how to grow in your finances, how to be more frugal, hacks you can do as opposed to just accepting everything at face value. So, I developed a lot of credit card debt. I want to say it was like almost $2,000 living in my hometown. Now, mind you, I was able to pay this off really quickly because I had a job. I had no bills to pay outside of my phone bill. And I really wasn't hanging out with friends. I wasn't doing a lot of things that were like expensive. Like, I've always been someone who loves to go hiking, loves to do free natural things, as opposed to like going shopping or like I mean, obviously, I couldn't like invest any money on drugs because I was living with my parents. So, like, I saved a lot of money and I also, paid off my credit card relatively quickly. Now, it's important that I let y'all know that I paid off my credit card before moving to San Francisco. It's important that you move into a new city, especially a big, expensive city like San Francisco, with as little debt as possible, as low bills as possible. So, like, I got myself my first phone, and I remember through the lease process, like, there were like a set of months where the bills were really high. And then after, your lease is up, it gets a lot lower. Luckily for me, the bills started getting lower right as I was getting prepared to move, and I paid off my credit card debt. Now, I had Wells Fargo, and I stopped supporting Wells Fargo because I researched that they were funding the Dakota Access Pipeline. So I was like, fuck that. I'm going to close my credit card account. I'm going to close this account. And that's another thing. When you pay off your credit card, if you don't see yourself being in that bank, you should close it as soon as possible. They will give you records that show that you closed it. So if anything happens in the future, you have record to say like, I closed my account. Y'all can't charge me anything. Because banks are money hungry and they're greedy and they are the reason that debt is able to circulate so easily in the United States because banks don't really care about you. They care about your money. And since money is the thing that makes the capitalist world go round, you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and protecting yourself before anyone can scam you or use your finances without your approval. So, I switched over to Chase just because San Francisco, I researched that Chase didn't really have any issues at the time. Now I'm not such a huge fan of them because their CEO is another money hungry capitalist, gross. But I still have Chase because Chase is really popular in San Francisco. So I opened an account with Chase back when I was living back home, like the week before I moved to San Francisco. And that was a really smart move because Chase, they're like the same on like customer support and customer service, but I feel like Chase understands like not everyone wants to talk, not everyone wants to like have the whole hey, welcome in. Like some people are just there to pay their bills and then leave. Like they don't need to talk. And it sounds really cruel to customer service workers, but also bank workers, I'm sure, are given like a whole list of things on what they need to tell you and sell you, and it's a mess. So I just, I'm polite to the person, but I don't support the worker. Like, stay away. Just let me get my money out and leave. Have a great day. I hope that you clock out soon and enjoy the rest of your human life without this job. Anyways, so and then okay, so then I had a credit card living out here in San Francisco, and my limit was 3,500. And I guess that's a pretty average, like, I only have one credit card. I only limited myself to have one credit card because I know that when you start piling up like two, three cards and you have good credit too, like I've had good credit because I paid off my phone and paid my phone bill every month when I only had that as a one line of credit. So I had a really good credit score, and I was like, I'm not about to get two, three cards because they will bill you, or not bill you, they will send you hella offers if you have good credit because that's what they want. They want your credit, they want your money. They don't care about you being able to have all these cards and being able to like live your best life. They really just care about, how much money can we hook into this guy and keep sucking out of him. That's another lesson. The longer it takes for you to pay off your credit, the more money the bank gets. And that's obvious, but what you don't understand is when you have credit that you owe, banks are giving out that money to other people, and it allows the circulation to go round and round, and that's how banks get their money. Um, Especially because with interest, you will collect a lot, you'll pay a lot more than is what initially due if you didn't have interest. So luckily for me, so there were a couple months in living here where, I was just being a dumb 20-year-old being like, LOL, like I live here, I can do whatever I want. And just spent money on like clothes I didn't need, drugs sometimes like weed. Like I would buy like a quarter ounce or a half ounce and be like, oh my God, like I'll just pay it back later, LOL. And because at the time my rent was really low, it was only 600. Now I'm paying like 1,200. So I really don't want like any extra money to go into things that are just gonna like, disappear and not have it be a smart investment. So it got to the point where, living this San Francisco life, and also this was before I was critical of San Francisco life and I was just open to all these experiences. The amount of eating out, the amount of shopping, the amount of wasteless spending that San Franciscans do just because they can. I mean, most of them are like rich techies and white people that like can afford to do that. But, hanging out with my friends, we're all brown and poor and, in difficult housing situations, but we're still doing the same thing. I think it's just because it's part of the culture of like dining out, having fun, getting wasted, getting faded. Like just, I guess that's the day to day of a San Franciscan. And I mean, it could have just been who I was hanging out with. But anyways, eating out is definitely a huge component of San Francisco life. So few people cook for themselves. And your money burns up like that when you're just eating out and doing things that you could be doing for yourself for a lot of a cheaper cost. So that doing all that got me to maxing out my credit card, which was at 3,500. I was living with old housing. In my old housing situation, I was paying like 1,100. So it started to catch up on me, like the fact that I could not pay this credit card. You know, I could, luckily, the majority of my credit card journey, I've been able to pay off all the minimum payments and a little bit over. But it got to a point where like the interest was digging me a deeper hole than I could pay off. And I was like, fuck, like I'm gonna end up wasting like $2,000 by the time this is done. So I paid it off little by little. I finally got it down through me working and me deciding not to eat out, not to spend money that I didn't have, not to. I locked my credit card, first of all. Locking your credit card, I'll put that right there. That is a huge step to stopping you from using it frivolously. If you just stop it and lock it, you can't, use it when you swipe. You have to physically go into the mobile app and unlock it and by then you know that you're doing this and not just like a, ooh. So I locked my credit card. I think when I locked my credit card once it got to the max because I was like, I'm not going to use this like ever again until I pay off this debt. Over months, I want to say like 6 or 7 months, doing magic to help me pay off this debt. Fucking like, I worked, I think at most 3 jobs in the city to pay off my debt, and I got it down 1,700. Recently, because of unemployment, I was able to pay all of my bills with enough left over to pay off my credit card in full. So I'm debt free, and it feels amazing. At this point, all I'm thinking about is saving. Now, another thing that I would recommend is don't close your credit card account when you pay it off, when it's zero, because nothing happens if you just have zero. Like, you're not going to have interest. Like, zero times whatever the interest percentage is still zero. So keep that card at zero. If you need the thing that creates good credit, and that's another thing I was learning, like the credit score thing in the United States is a fucking scam. Like you shouldn't worry about it as much as most people do, and going down by a couple points literally means nothing. I don't think it means anything in general, but to live in the United States, to rent places, to get, I'm not getting any loans, I'm not getting any, like, I don't care. I will not be in debt in my life. Like, if I go, I'm in community college right now, I have no debt. If I go to university, it's going to be a full ride or nothing. Like, I would rather just spend the rest of my life learning through my own means than being indebted thousands of dollars that I will most likely not pay and die with, and then pass that off to whatever children I have. And that's really fucked up, and it's really insidious of the United States, and I don't support it at all. So I'm making this video to help you guys realize that you don't have to live indebted. Like, yeah, maybe some of y'all are saying that the scales of debt versus higher education and higher paying job is great, but also think about if you just didn't have that debt. Like, that's where I'm at. I know that I'm a smart person without, higher education, and I know that my smart mind will get me into higher universities and places of learning without me having to become indebted, because it's honestly a scam. And I am too smart to look and fall for scams. I mean, I did fall for this, but that was a part of me learning financial literacy, is understanding the way that this world works financially. And it sucks, but money really is the root of all evil, but also like the root of survival when it comes to living. Like, you cannot live anywhere unless you're trading like work to live and eat, but anywhere else you would just have to pay for to live on this planet. Fucking bullshit. Anyways, so I'm credit card free. I'm debt free. I do not plan on using my credit card until I have at least like 3 months worth of expenses saved up. And if I do use my credit card, it's just because I do have a good credit score. I'm not gonna lie. This whole journey, at least I have a good credit score, even though I think it's a scam. I have a good credit score, I have no debt, and to keep it growing, because apparently if you just stop using your credit card, if you just, I don't know what happens exactly, but if you just don't use your credit card, I know that it can lower your credit score. And for me, who's 22, I want to go into like the 20s with hella good scores and hella just like not worrying about anything financially, because I spent 19 to like now, up until like 2 days ago, worrying about my finances and living paycheck to paycheck and paying bills, and this pandemic happened and left me unemployed and I couldn't pay bills. So luckily, unemployment supported me a lot. I'm still dependent on them because I don't have work coming in until this pandemic is over. I'm still looking, but overall, like, the amount of money that unemployment's giving me is allowing me to survive. Also, with food stamps, like, the amount of money that goes into cooking your own food is not only less expensive than eating out, but it's also more fulfilling because you get to see, like, what you can create, what flavors you like, what combinations you can make, and that's really fun and fulfilling. If you are young and don't have a credit card, try and avoid it. Like, I would say just don't, because I feel like unless you have watched this video and understand that, like, if you are not extremely careful with your credit card, you will like start to dig yourself a deeper hole than you're able to handle. So, if you don't have a credit card yet and don't have credit card debt, try and avoid getting to that point as much as possible. Trust me, the amount of nights and months and weeks and years that I spent worrying about this fucking credit card number and this debt that I owed, not worth it. If you are working on paying off your credit card debt, definitely keep going. Really prioritize what is important, and paying off debt should be on that list of importance, along with like support for your future self and saving for your future self. Your future self will highly appreciate it. I'm 22 now. I'm turning 23 next month. It's Gemini season. I turned 23 on June 9th. So I'm excited to go into 23 with no debt, beautiful ass habits, beautiful ass, mindset, beautiful friends and support, and also beautiful art and channels that I can channel my art into. But yeah, today's video was just to help you guys with your finances. I hope that, in this moment of COVID-19, everyone is kind of frozen with their finances. But just remember the bigger picture that your life is worth living and you should not have to go into debt to live it as greatly as you could. All right, well, have a great day, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please pay off that debt. We don't need to be another generation of people that have debt and have to worry about that debt. That really limits the human experience, the spiritual experience, the growth that you can have without worrying about all this debt. And let's cripple the United States finances and economy because honestly, like this nation needs to be destroyed. It needs to be changed. There needs to be a revolution. The amount of times that people talk about like ending the fucked up values of the United States yet don't want to put any action behind that, it's all just theory. I'm like, come on, y'all. If we stop allowing ourselves to fall as individuals, this nation could be great. Nationalism's terrible. And, the only reason I would be happy with this nation is that if indigenous people took back power and, spread their knowledge about how to best support Earth and, the people of Earth. So, division is an illusion. Unity. Have a great